Imagine this. You are watching an NFL playoff game that has next to no commercials. When you do hit a regularly scheduled television timeout, you instead head back to a studio and get highlights and analysis of the game. The panel includes a former All-Pro, another player, a coach, along with a gentleman who has a lovely British accent. Then when the game is on, you still get the United States feed from whatever network the game is being broadcast on like you normally would. Sounds amazing, right? Like some sort of wonderful dream that could never be a reality. Believe it or not though, it is a reality for some, at least those who happen to live in the United Kingdom or Ireland and have a subscription to Sky Sports. It absolutely baffles me that the UK NFL viewing experience is better than what we get in the United States. Now, of course, there are reasons for this, and I'll get to those in a little bit. Still, what bothers me and what should bother all red-blooded NFL fans in the good old US of A is that we must suffer through an inferior broadcast product. By the way, the opposite of this has never ever been the case. Soccer fans in America have suffered through some of the worst, the most terrible experiences when it comes to watching the beautiful game. Tommy Smith in a Bristol, Connecticut studio calling Champions League games on ESPN2, awful. Gus Johnson doing soccer play-by-play on Fox? Oh, sorry. I'm having some really terrible flashbacks about what it was like to watch soccer back in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Dark days, those were indeed. Anyway, NFL fans in the United Kingdom, they have it really good. Not being forced to sign up for Peacock and then still having to sit through a never-ending stream of adverts. No halftime shows that are 45 seconds of highlights and then more ads. It is certainly all the football a person could ask for without any of the crappiness usually attached to it. A novel concept, at least in the States. So what is the UK NFL viewing experience like, at least for the postseason? Well, the game, of course, is the game. They don't really do much there. It is the same broadcast, same announcers, same graphics you get back home. The pre- and post-game shows feature the Sky Sports NFL team that includes former players Ndamukong Suh and Jason Bell, one-time Buffalo Bills coach Phoebe Schechter, and host Neil Reynolds, a Brit who has covered the NFL for quite some time now. This is a capable, if slightly uninteresting group who does at least know what they are talking about, especially Ndamukong Suh, who's probably a bit too soft-spoken for American audiences, but does a really good job explaining the game for an overseas audience. And quite frankly, I enjoy his lack of hyperbole quite a bit. During most commercial breaks, this group provides instant analysis, which is a refreshing change of pace from being bombarded by ads for Lumi and Mando. Let's take a 20-second timeout to talk about these. The Lumi and Mando commercials exist solely to make you insecure about your own potential body odor. When you feel insecure, you're of course going to want to use more of their product. Conveniently enough too, you can use Lumi or Mando all over your body, just not in your armpits. This of course leads you to using more of their product, which in turn sees you buying more of their product. All of this product usage and money spent is to not cover up body odor, mind you, but to actually just cover up your insecurity about potential body odor that most folks don't actually have. Back to the United Kingdom NFL viewing experience. So why is Sky Sports able to do this and provide a better experience? That's because NFL games really air at all hours of the night in the UK and Ireland. This is not a prime time slot for advertisers. And while the sport does continue to grow in popularity across the pond, it's not a massive ratings draw. And it doesn't really need to be, since Sky Sports isn't handing over billions upon billions of dollars to the National Football League for rights. Despite this, the TV provider does show the sport a lot of respect, as seen by their studio coverage in the playoffs. Sure, you do still get some ads and some commercials, but overall it's a much more immersive viewing experience. It's exactly what you would want, nay, it's exactly what you would expect when paying crazy amounts of money each month just to watch sports on television. Make no mistake here though, Sky is your typical cable satellite TV provider with comical packages, over the top fees, all of that nonsense, all of what you would expect from this racket. Yet the sports division at Sky doesn't really mind investing in a lower tier property for it, such as the NFL. Look, I don't know if this is part of their contract, something they're obligated to do, or something they choose to do on their own. Regardless of what may be the case there, it does offer a much better viewing experience. Meanwhile, ESPN continues to have remote announcers for game broadcasts, despite the fact it's awful to watch, it's a cheap move, and it really just benefits no one involved. The UK NFL viewing experience putting American networks to shame really highlights a huge gap in the market, a massive missed opportunity. Especially during the current reality of cord cutting and the mounting losses being faced by ESPN, Fox, and all of those with sports rights. The focus today is to piecemeal these rights into absolute oblivion, to have just enough sports, just a sliver of sports to get you to sign up to some stupid streaming service. It's without question a bad system. Instead, what all of these various sports rights holders should do is pool everything together, make one big giant pie of sports rights, and create the ultimate sports streaming platform. Charge a premium price, maybe have a few different tiers, and give sports fans in America what they want, what they've been asking for, what the only thing they actually care about is, and that is sports in one place. Some will say this could never ever work, corporate greed and so on and so forth, but I think when you look at the math and the logistics, it actually makes a lot of sense. When people started cutting the cord, ESPN suffered because it lost its carriage fee, which was around $9.50 per cable subscriber, depending on who they were with. All of those networks and stations and holders of sports rights had similar arrangements with cable companies. There is no real reason you couldn't at least try something similar with a streaming platform that focused only on sports properties, only on those games and what people care about. Now, how the fees would be broken up would need to be negotiated, and a price point eventually must be established. What that is, who really knows? But there's a reason to believe if sports rights holders pursued this path, they could bring in more money than what they were making with cable carriage fees. As a fan, if you told me there was a streaming platform, a streaming service that could give me all of the sports I used to get in one place but no longer do back in one place, if it was like, I don't know, $79 a month, I would sign up yesterday for that. That in turn means a bigger slice of that $79 pie for the various sports right holders, instead of ESPN sharing the carriage fee with like 90 other parties or whatever the case may have been with Disney and how the cable networks broke down. They would only be splitting that with the handful of sports rights holders in the United States. Essentially, a bigger slice of the pie is what they'd be getting here. That in turn could see networks actually be able to focus more on improving broadcast and improving the watching experience for fans. In other words, less in-game ad reads, less Nugenics and Friday Plans commercials during the games, a focus on what's happening on the court or on the field or on the diamond, and less of a concerted effort on everything else going on around it. I know it sounds outlandish, but a boy can dream, right? As for the present moment in time, it does seem a bit odd that the UK NFL viewing experience puts American networks to shame. Who would have thought that England could do American football better than America, at least on TV? But that is just the truth of the situation. First they burn down our capital, now they embarrass us when it comes to broadcasting our national sport. Rule Britannia, indeed. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about just why streaming sports sucks altogether, well, check out the video in the upper right hand corner of your screen. Until next time, I am Shine Hollis. This is the Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25. Pip pip cheerio.